Hello and welcome back. We are continuing our series of tutorials. We're looking at, now we're sort of combining SQL and Python. Last episode, we started working through a little bit of on-the-fly problem solving. And we're going to continue that this time. Our goal being to be able to limit rows that are pulled across, but to grab the related rows in those cases, because there's situations where it's not going to be the same. And of course, the rows we grab would not necessarily be the same. Now, last time we left off, we were able to, we're going through here and we're basically saying, hey, when we're with this new smart empty sync thing that we're looking at, we can go through all the root tables. If they don't have anything else, we're going to pull for example, whatever our max rows is. So if we want to pull 100 rows, we'll go to our root tables and we'll pull 100 rows of those. That's pretty easy. But then what we need to do is that means, okay, now we've got to go through the non-root tables. And that we're going to go through, we go through each of those. We identify what the parents are. And then for each of those, we're going to load the parent table data before we get down to this one. And what we can do is, now this is where it can, because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to find for each one. So for example, here we've got two references. And so this is actually going to be a good little tricky thing to do, because what we're going to need to do for each reference that we have, we're going to say, we're going to go to the parent and we're going to select all the values that are that reference value. And then we're going to use those values to select values from the child. So it's going to look a little bit, I think it's one of those, it's probably worth doing it with not automated first. So let's look here. I'll sort of show you what we're going to go through, and then we'll come back later and we'll do the programming side. So, okay, so this one. Let's look at, let's see. So we're going to look at, let me order by table name. I want to get a couple. I'd like to get a couple where it's the same twice. So just hit reference the same table. I'll have to come back to that. We'll take a look at that specific. Let's start with contract. So the contract table references performer, host, and performance. And let's go ahead and take the same one. I'm going to need all of the values because I think that's one where we're not grabbing the column that we need. And so, for example, for contract, we're going to select some ID from performer, because then that's where we're going to have all of we're going to find out what contracts we need. And it's really going to be just distinct because we only need it for each one. But we need to figure out what's that ID value. And so let's go look at the where constraint, and we're going to label it. We're going to limit this a little bit, and table name equals contract. So we'll simplify what we're doing right now. So here's our three. And the first one we're dealing with is performer. And so performer here, we can see that we have a reference table, and we're going to be able to see, let's see, we need to find what it is referenced on. So we're probably going to need our constraint information then. Let's see, so that's a referential, let's just make sure. So that's catalog schema. Make sure I didn't miss it in the update rule, delete rule, table name, reference table name. So I need to know what the values are with that. And so this is going to come from, let's see, referential constraints. We may have to flip back over to the code. Where did we find that? We found that out of, let's go back over here. Because we did that when we built our indexes. Drop table, sync columns, missing indexes. So what we're probably going to do, let's do show indexes. Let's do show indexes, and I think it's from table name. Yep. So if we do show indexes from, and we'll get our table, which is, what did we say? It was contract. Let me move this back up. So I'm sort of doing all this coding in the same place. Let's come up here and let's do these. Okay. So I may not need that. So instead, I'm going to do show indexes from contract. Okay, so here I can see a key name. And now here what you'll see is I don't have the column, I'm sorry, the table that it is linked to. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need this information here. So I need to, for example, find this constraint name here that's on performer, because I've got to figure out how is it linked. And so if I look at the indexes, and then I can see here, I can see where my performer is, but I don't know how to get that back to a table. And so I'm going to need probably from something else. Let's see, what else have we found information on? Let's go look at the information schema, because this may get a little bit complex. Let's go here. Let's just go to information schema. Do show tables. Because what we're going to need is probably, let's see, if we look at we have referential constraints. So we knew that this is on, so this is good. So when we do missing indexes, we were going to get it from here. And so we needed to get it from the name on table. Column name. Oh, this was an index. I'm sorry. We need foreign keys. So we need, oh, did we not? This may be a gap. Did we not get, we've got indexes. And, oh, it was in the table itself. It was in the create table. So if we go to create table, here we go. We got that information from describe. So let's try that. So if we go here, if we just do describe contract, but we have to go back to the Giganator one here. If we go here, okay. So now, oh, see, we're still sort of stuck, because what we're trying to figure out is here, where is our table? So I wonder if we missed one here, because that's a primary. So primary key, easy enough. But what we do need, that's referential constraints. And this one is referential and constraints. Let's see, referential constraints. So this may be a little bit tricky, because what we need to do is rebuild that index. And that's missing functions, procedures. So we're going to have to figure this sucker out. We're going to have to go back here. And we're going to have to do a little bit of looking around. So let's go look at, actually, I'm going to flip it over here because I think I can probably, so if I go over here to information schema, is it going to tell me? No, it's just going to show me views. It's not going to give me my tables. Okay, so let's go back over here. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to show tables. And so what I'm going to need is probably something. So we know that it's not in referential constraints, because if we pull everything from that, we don't see, we see our schema, but we do not see, I'm sorry, we see our schema. Oh, here we go. Shoot. We did have it. Okay, my mistake. I totally missed it. So good. Well, there you can see where we sometimes go through stuff. Okay, so here, what I need to do is, so that was on my left. I can't believe I didn't go there. So what I need to do here is I really need from this, I need the referenced table name. And then I need, from that, I need the column. So that is it. So I get my table name from there. Is this going to give me my, let's go back over here. And I do not have my, now I do see here where I will see, I can always go to that column, but wait, let's go back. So that's my table name. But what I need is to figure out how do I tie the column to the table that I'm creating. And so I think this is going to be it. So here I can see that I have it, but I don't have a name. If I jump all the way back up here, if I do star, so I do need, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not as far along as I thought I was on this and being able to track this one down. So for example, here, what I need to know, I know this is performer ID, but I need to figure out how do I know that other than I just know it here. I don't know what my column name is in this table that ties to this, this constraint. So now I need to go back to my columns. Did I do, okay, I lost it. So I'm just gonna go here and do show tables. Whoop. And so I have some check constraints. Let's see what looks like it could be useful. I have profiling, referential constraints, privileges, stats, variables, tables. Let's look at tables and table constraints and see what those give me. So let's do same thing, but this is going to be, let's do table constraints. Let's see if it gives me, okay, so here's table constraints. And again, it gives me the primary table, but it doesn't give me the column nor the table in the column that's left to. And so now if I do, what did I say? I can do constraints. Let's see if this works. It's not constraints. It's, what did I call it? It was tables. Let's see if tables will give me anything. Okay, so it's not constraint schema. Let's see if this will give me, okay. So here it just tells me what the table is, and this is just table level stuff. So it's not going to be tables. Let's see what else I can get. So I could look at columns. Let's see if columns will get me anything. Will it? Let's see. Because I really want, so it's not table constraints. Could be index statistics. Let's look at that real quick. Index statistics. And that just gives me a table and index name and a schema. Ooh, let's try that. Let's say we grab from statistics. So I may have to do a little combo here where table name equals contract. Okay. Oops, I'm in the wrong place. Am I? Why? Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I don't have any statistics, so that's not the one I need. Show tables again. So let's see. If I did, let's see, user variables. This may be an NODB one. So let's go look at, is there anything that looks really good? There's an index table, sysfields, locks. So I think we want to go back to, so we did table constraints. Let's go look at, we did look at table constraints, didn't we? From table constraints. And that gives us just the name and nothing else. So it gives us our foreign key. But what we don't get is we don't get our foreign keys anywhere. So what we're going to need to do is I'm going to step into a little more research on this one, because what we're not finding is how to link our table and our ID. So we're sort of there. We know that from here, we're going to be able to look to it and we're going to say, here's our parents. But we need to know is what field in our table links us to the table there. Because here what we're going to do is, let's go to Giganator. We'll do it like this, because what we're going to do is we're going to do here, let's describe Giganator.performer. And I'll show you where we're going with this. Is that lowercase g? It's a lowercase g. Okay, so we're going to want, like, for example, for contract, there is probably in here somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry. Contract is, which we can probably do it that way. Oh, wait, maybe we'll just go here. We just grab the primary key. So it's like, oh, my mistake. We just fixed it, or I just found it. So we're going to select distinct performer ID from, Giganator, from that, except, I'm sorry. We need to do it from here. We need to do it from contract first. So my mistake. So what we want to do here, if we describe contract, maybe I'll be able to fix this. And we'll have to come back in the next episode. So this will be a cliffhanger. So we describe this. So here, what we need to do is we need to know, like, for example, so contract has a performer. So what we need to do for, that's right, because this is for So contract needs to have those performers exist. So we need to know what is the ID in the performer table, because what we're going to need to do is we're going to do distinct, we're going to actually select from contract. We're going to select distinct performer ID, and then that is where we're going to have to do select star from Giganator performer, where is, I think is it performer ID here? Yeah. From performer where, whoop, let's do this. Where performer ID in this. And that's going to give us the records that we need, because we don't need anything if it's not in contract. Oops. There we go. So that's what we're going to try to get to. We have to figure out how to automate that. And that's what we're going to tackle next time around. So again, we're doing a little bit of problem solving through this, but I think it's one of those that it's useful to see how we got here. Otherwise, you may get a little bit lost when we start cranking out some of the code. So what we're going to, we know what our goal is. Now what we have to do here is create this. And so in this case, we know that our table, we know this is our table name. So this is the current table. And we could get this performer ID in the select constraints. Can't we? No, we can get it from contract. So we may be able to find it here, but we know that this, let's see where, so this comes from this is the parent, which we got from table constraints. Not table constraints, from referential constraints. So this is the referenced table name. So this is actually referenced table name, and this is going to be the primary key. So we'll have to be able to get that. But we know that we get this from the reference table name here. And so what we need is we need to be able to see where in this constraint, what is that? And so we're going to dig that up next time. Apologies for going a little long, but like I said, I think the problem solving may be useful as well. It's good for us to just sort of go back and see what we did, why we did it. That being said, I'll let you get to it. So go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.